Welcome everybody. SBR videos coming to you for Wild Card weekend in the NFL and the lines at where they sit today. This is Tuesday that we're filming this. Kansas City Chiefs are at Houston. Kansas City is favored -3. All right, there are some home dogs in the playoffs, more so than there's been in 20 or 30 years. All right, Pittsburgh is at Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh's favored by 2.5. Now, the interesting game that I like, Seattle Seahawks -5.5 at Minnesota. All right, Minnesota's banged up. We'll get into that in a minute. Now, the last game is the Packers at the Redskins, and very, very early when it came out, there was a couple spots you could have grabbed the Redskins +1. It then went to a pick'em. It is now pretty much across the board Redskins -1, if not a pick'em. So we're going to talk about those four games. We'll start with Kansas City. Kansas City's one of the hottest teams in the NFL, winning 10 in a row, just really buckling down on defense, and that's what Andy Reid does. All right, Houston, on the other hand, is also hot. They've won 3 in a row. J.J. Watt, the epitome of an athlete that brings it every game, has a broken hand, has the extended cast, and is still just bringing it week in and week out, and he is the absolute fuel that fires that team up. So Houston has had some quarterback issues, as we all know, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think Kansas City is too focused to lose this game. I think Andy Reid will absolutely have Alex Smith just operating that offense efficiently and letting the defense take care of controlling the clock. So I like Kansas City on the game -3. That's what Bet365 has it. Now the second game, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. All right, Pittsburgh's favored in Cincinnati, and that line is simply because of the injury to Andy Dalton, who is having one of his finest seasons. All right, A.J. McCarron, however, the quarterback of Cincinnati, he's not afraid of big games or media or the big hype. All right, he had more national televised games with Alabama, winning 2 titles, than he's had in the NFL. So this pressure doesn't scare him. Absolutely, NFL's a much different league, but I think he's capable of managing this team without hurting it. And again, like the game with Kansas City, letting Cincinnati's defense control the clock and win the game, because Cincinnati depends on defense if Andy Dalton's not in there. And let's not forget, A.J. Green's playing very good football, so I think McCarron's going to find his little safety guard in that. I like the home underdog in this one. I think they absolutely probably might win it outright, but I'll take the 2.5 points that Bet365 has given me today. So in that ball game, take the home underdog Cincinnati Bengals plus the 2.5. Now, Seattle at Minnesota, I've had people say, look, this team just lost a couple weeks ago to the Rams, this and that. Guess what? Yeah, they did lose that game. All right, the Rams were at a desperate spot. They were playing for their coach, and the Rams are not as bad as their record indicates. Seattle, on the other hand, is clicking on all cylinders, obviously, except for the running back position. Defense is on top of its game, and most importantly, Pete Carroll does what Pete Carroll does best. He knows how to coach. And Wilson, I got to hand it to the guy. He's really bounced back. He's just playing mistake-free football. So this team is dangerous. And if we want to recall, when Seattle finally turned it on this year, it was Minnesota's ass that got whooped 38-7. So I believe Seattle's going to have a similar type of game, go into Minnesota. They're not afraid of that weather. And also, Adrian Peterson, if you didn't catch it last week, he has a lower back issue, and he pulled himself out of the game. I have had many back issues, and this is not something you're just going to jump back up and just run for 150 yards, not against this defense. So I think they lose that factor, okay? And also, Teddy Bridgewater, his youth is showing in these later games in the year. I don't think he's going to have a big game. I think Seattle's going to be all over him, and I think they're going to get pounded. Now, my hat is off to Mike Zimmer, the head coach for Minnesota. He's a defensive guru, and he has turned this team around, and it's defense that has won the games and allowed the offense to do what it's done. So, but I think that ship stopped sailing this week. Seattle on the full game -5.5. I think they covered double digits. Now, the last game is Packers at the Redskins, another very hot team. The Redskins, Packers, so up and down this year, we don't recognize them. All right, the Redskins, again, the line bounced around and it moved. I like the Redskins at home -1 on the full game. I just think the energy in that stadium and the fact that Kirk Cousins is playing very solid football right now, and he's got confidence, and his team has confidence. And when your teammates get that confidence, in you as the quarterback, the leader of the team. When that happens, that's a boost of energy that goes a long way, and it's not just on the field, it's in the locker room. So, Jay Gruden, people thought this wasn't the guy for the job. Guess what? He just kept plugging, and kept plugging. That's what Grudens do, all right? And I wish John Gruden would get back into coaching, by the way. But I think the Redskins are at a very good spot. They're playing good defense. They're not afraid to win on the road. They like it at home. So Redskins -1 on that game. So we'll just recap right now. Kansas City -3 at Houston. I like that on the full game. Cincinnati, the home underdog, getting 2.5 points on the full game. Seattle Seahawks, no doubt, full game -5.5. And last but not least, Redskins at home -1. So there's 4 games. I believe you can cash all 4 tickets. NFL action, wild card weekend. Don't miss it.